Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBA champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Anthony Joshua was asked about a potential fight after Joseph Parker should he be successful on March 31st at the Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales, where he will defend his IBO, IBF and Super WBA heavyweight titles against WBO World Heavyweight Champion Joseph Parker, so them having their unification fight. And Anthony Joshua was asked, what about Tyson Fury after then? And Anthony Joshua is almost a little bit dismissive of him because he's finding him now boring, like, too much talk, not enough action, that kind of thing. So anyway, I'll get into Anthony Joshua's words here. Not so much Tyson Fury because I'm a bit bored of all the talking that he does. I just want to see him get back in action, and sometimes I'll say the right thing and I say I'm looking forward to him getting back. The other times I say I just can't be bothered because it's just an ongoing situation. It's his decision to not box. No one forced him to not box. It was his decision. He had 2 rematches scheduled for Klitschko and he didn't take the fights. He's been inactive for 2.5 years. Should the whole boxing industry stop and wait for him? He hasn't addressed his situations properly. I'm not going to stop my career. I'm going to keep rocking and rolling. Remember, people forget, before the Klitschko-Fury fight, it wasn't regarded as an exciting fighter or the man of boxing. His talking gave him the respect recently, and the adversities that he's faced has gained him a lot more attention than his boxing style. He even struggled to sell out the Manchester Arena in the proposed Klitschko rematch. When you say, I have to beat the man, I don't really think he is. For me, when I won the championship belt, I stayed active and carried on progressing, and he didn't. It's a shame because these are like his glory days now. So that is Anthony Joshua's statement. So I suppose what we can read into all that, I mean, it's pretty transparent really, is that he's saying that Tyson Fury, because he struggled to sell out the Manchester Arena for the rematch against Vladimir Klitschko, I mean, that is fact. Even the first time before he pulled out, the first time with his was it ankle injury, wasn't it, I believe, and that was a legitimate injury, but the arena just wasn't selling, and it's not the biggest arena in the world. It's actually quite small in comparison to a lot of other ones at Manchester. So yeah, that stadium wasn't selling out at all, which did surprise me. It really did, to be honest. But I guess a lot of people, especially in Manchester, they do like to wait until a little bit closer to the fight, just so they 100% know the fight's going to happen before they commit to tickets. And of course, a lot of people were saying, well, that first fight was boring, I'm not going to go there and watch another boring rematch. Whereas like a Tyson Fury may well have outboxed him again like that. But either way, Anthony Joshua says that should the whole boxing industry stop and wait for him? Well, no, of course not. I mean, Tyson Fury will return when he returns. Tyson Fury will do whatever he's going to do. It's not up to anybody to be waiting around or chasing Tyson Fury. That is for sure. And yeah, I mean, Joshua is correct that he does need to carry on with his career and pay no mind to Tyson Fury right now until he becomes, no better or lack of a word, relevant. And I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan, but facts are, as of right now, he's not relevant because he hasn't fought anybody. He's over the whole UCAD thing, which is fantastic. It took a hell of a long time, purely down to UCAD and the British Boxing Board of Control screwing him over. You know, we've covered this 100 times now, and Tyson Fury was definitely a victim for the majority of that. But of course, a lot of it was his own doing, of course. I mean, regardless of what goes on, you know, he chose to put cocaine in his body, and he chose to tell the testers for UCAD and that to go jog on. So yeah, that was his own fault, but it's not his fault that it took so long. But I mean, for Anthony Joshua to say that it was Tyson Fury's decision to not box, no one forced him to not box, it was his decision, and he had 2 rematches scheduled with Klitschko. He didn't take the fights, and he's been inactive for 2.5 years. Well, I mean, I see why he's saying that, because yes, he could have took the rematch, but like I said, the first time he twisted his ankle, the second time was down to a mental breakdown. So, I mean, when you have a mental breakdown, clearly, you know, you're not thinking clear at all. And, you know, he turned down a chance of, what was it, about 5 or 6 million, maybe a bit more, to have that rematch with Vladimir Klitschko. So, yes, he's right in the sense that Tyson Fury could have done it anyway and just went in there for the payday. But at the same time, if you're not thinking clearly and you're not focused against somebody like Vladimir Klitschko, he's got to put your lights out. So it's a risk versus reward, if you like. For you and me, 5 million, that's a hell of a lot of money. And I'm sure it is for Tyson Fury as well, because he wouldn't have got paid too much for the first fight when he won the titles by beating Klitschko, because he was a mandatory, so he would have got no more than 25%, maybe 30%. But either way, while that money would have been good, the rematch would have been a hell of a lot more, because he was at A-side, he was a champion. But like I said, it's not his decision that once you get banned and UCAD are taking so long, it's not like he can just come back and say, you know what, screw you, UCAD, I don't care what you say. Screw you, British Boxing Board of Control, I don't care what you say, I'm going to fight anyway. It don't work that way. So Anthony Joshua is way, way wrong on that one. It's like if they took Anthony Joshua's license off him right now, he's not going to be able to fight Joseph Parker for all the will in the world. He's not going to be able to do it until the board tell him that he can. And it's exactly the same with Tyson Fury. So I don't agree with Joshua on that bit. But like I said, he is right in the sense that he could have taken a rematch. But what's more important, your health or money? But either way, as of right now, Tyson Fury is not a priority for Anthony Joshua. And for Tyson Fury, yes, he's been saying that I'd fight Anthony Joshua on my comeback fight. I'll fight him next, or this, that, and the other. I mean, for Joshua and Eddie Hearn, that's like, okay, well, come on then. Because you've been inactive, we're going to blitz you. So, and that's probably, you know, what would happen. So a lot of people who are huge Tyson Fury fans, as I am as well, you know, the reality is that was a stupid move if that was to happen. Tyson Fury should not even be thinking about Anthony Joshua right now. He needs to be thinking about his next fight. There's talk of Shannon Briggs. Maybe he can get Manuel Charr if he can get permission from the WBA, so to maybe fight for the regular title for WBA, which would of course make him direct mandatory for Anthony Joshua. So, well, if he was to beat Manuel Charr, he'd still have to face Fraser Quendo. You know, not exactly a fight that everybody will be excited about, but you know, he would have to face Fraser Quendo after Manuel Charr to become the official mandatory for the WBA, because of, as of right now, Alexander Povetkin is. Alexander Povetkin, that would be a great comeback fight. Well, it's a very, very risky comeback fight. So again, I probably wouldn't advise for him to be fighting Alexander Povetkin, although I love that fight. And Tyson Fury, I mean, if he was to just stick behind his jab and use his weight like Vladimir Klitschko did against Povetkin, he'd find it quite an easy night. But Tyson Fury does like to get engaged at times, and that's one thing you don't do with Povetkin. Maybe go fight Ustinov. You know, he's just come off of a loss to Manuel Charr. He was supposed to have fought Ustinov right before he fought Vladimir Klitschko. Maybe Kubrat Pulev. That's a decent fight. So somebody who's tall, somebody who will give him rounds, and somebody who is a very good boxer but not a power puncher. So whereas a Tyson Fury can just run around them all night and just win on points. So for me, if I could choose anybody for Tyson Fury for a comeback, it would be Kubrat Pulev. I don't know why, I actually like that fight. So, but of course he has other options, and it's more than likely going to be Shannon Briggs, which is a great comeback fight, dangerous comeback fight, but a fight that a lot of people would tune in for, and I don't know, maybe even a pay-per-view. Tyson Fury obviously needs to finalise his final decision as to who he's going to be promoted by. If he goes with Frank Warren, it's unlikely that fight is going to happen between him and between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, due to the broadcasting rivalry. And it's not like Frank Warren is going to want Tyson Fury to go and fight on Sky Sports, and there's no way in hell Eddie Hearn is going to allow Anthony Joshua to go on BT Sport, and there's no way they're going to do a dual coverage of the fight. I mean, if they did, it will probably be a case of Sky Sports would show it live, BT Sport would show the replay. So that's one option, I suppose, for a compromise. But either way, right now, Tyson Fury shouldn't be thinking about Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua should not even be thinking about Tyson Fury. So people asking him about Tyson Fury, or you interviewers out there, please stop asking him. He's got a fight, and it's Joseph Parker. From now until that fight, March 31st, it's Joseph Parker. So all talk about Wilder, all talk about Tyson Fury, Povetkin, anybody else, there's no point to it. Literally no point, because what's the point of him talking about it? Because he has to stay 100% focused on Joseph Parker. That's a hard fight for him. And one is actually the very, very first time where I actually hope Joseph Parker loses, but at the same time I hope he puts in a good performance. But we'll have to wait and see what happens on the night. But that's what's going on right now. Anthony Joshua, he's not too keen on fighting Tyson Fury next because of all the talk and this, that and the other. And he's just not bothered. So drop your thoughts below, click the thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.